Don't you tell me I'm enabling him, getting him free. You can't stop this kind of love. It is so powerful. It's ridiculous. He comes in the house. He's like, can I hug you? I said, come here. He said, I don't even know where to start. And he wraps around me and hugs. I said, how about if I start, son? I said, I want you to know I'm not mad at you or disappointed. If I cry at all, it's for you. Because you're so much more than what you've chosen. Your destiny is so much greater than what you've positioned yourself for, buddy. Listen, I didn't have you so I could live your dreams and live your life. You're a blessing in our lives. We're not here to dominate you and control you. If we cry for you. He just lost it. He said, I don't know how you can't be mad at me. I said, I don't know how I could. I hurt for you. What do you mean mad? You don't owe me anything. I love you. It wrecked him. Look, you can do all the psychology stuff you want in that moment. Go ahead, see if it works. But I'm going to love him just like Jesus loved me when I came to him and knocked on his door that day and asked him to forgive me. Jesus didn't say, oh, it's you. You know, I wish you'd have come 6 months ago. I wooed you pretty hard 6 months ago. Ignored me again. Caused a lot of hell and pain in those months too. Hurt a lot of people, and you kept my heart on a yo-yo. In fact, it's good I don't slumber. I'd have never slept anyway. In fact, I'll tell you what, I don't even know where we stand anymore, pal. I'm not even sure how I feel. I mean, give me a night to think about it. Maybe I'll talk with the elders. I'll get back to you in the morning. Come on, that's normal stuff in humans. Look, does that sound foolish in the mouth of God? It ought to sound just as foolish in yours. You're made for his image. You didn't learn to talk that way from him. You learned to talk that way from Adam. And you're born again. Let's not sell the gospel cheap and just make it about fuzzies and feelings and profits and blessings and breakthroughs and provisions and my answered prayers. Let's start to love one another because it'll change the world. Because he said, when you're one like they're one, when they're one like you and me, Father, are one, then the world will know that you sent your son. What's he talking about? When they become like us. And when their motivation is love. Not ministry, not money, not reputation, not identity. When it's love. And guess what love does? It lays down its life. For who? Another. My son got so wrecked by it. My wife said, Dan, however you received him, she was out of town when he came. She said, whatever you did when you answered the door, the look on your face, he kept saying, Mom, it was unbelievable how Dad received me. I know what he preaches and says, but Mom, how can he be mad? It freaked him out. See, if I was mad, it was a given. He expected me to be mad, but it wouldn't have been transforming. It would have just been reciprocal. One person in this room, you tell me who you came, when you came to God. One person in this room, you came to get born again and God fussed you and scolded you and reprimanded you. Then why do we do it to each other? Look, there's a time for discipline, and I talk very stern at times and straight, and especially with my family, but it's always because I love them. It's not because I'm mad at them. In fact, you don't even have authority for grace to go with you if you're only doing it because they're wrong and you're right. I wouldn't even encourage you to correct nobody if it's just because they're wrong. You correct them because they're more than that. And then grace goes with you and empowers your words and touches their heart. Come on, I don't need to set you straight. I just love you enough to talk to you about your life. You follow me? It wrecked my son. My son's 25 now. I've never seen him so solid and so in love with Jesus. He doesn't stop talking. He's probably worse than me. He's like, yeah, just about Jesus and how he sees now and his identity and and I'm like, do I look anything like that? Because he's pretty whacked with this thing, man. 2 months ago, I saw my boy. He's down in Tennessee. I went and opened my Bible to preach the next time I went to preach, and I had this big, long thing on my page. I thought, who wrote this big thing on the leaflet of my Bible? I didn't know. Now, I'm a pretty childlike guy. I'm pretty primitive. That's my color code for my Bible. So all those colors mean something. So when I read, I believe Holy Spirit will just bring all that out to me. So I got my Bible is it's all back here. Well, that's not even the word right there. That's just a preview. But you see what my Bible looks like? My Bible looks pretty. All those colors mean something. But watch what my son wrote to me. I'm telling you, getting mad at him isn't the answer. Telling him is more than what he did is the answer. Without trying to do Christian and hug him and be okay when you're not. Come on, what do they say in the world today? Anger management is some big phrase I hear all the time. To a Christian, that's hypocrisy. Managing anger? What you're saying is anger's okay. I'm just going to not show it and express it. The Bible doesn't say manage anger. Read Colossians. It says put it off. Why? Because it's self-centered. Anger to the point of sin at the cost of another is self-centered anger. It's driven by you. Come on. It says put it off. Why? Because you died. It's Colossians 3. It says if you've been raised with Christ, or since you've been raised with Christ, seek the things which are above, not the things on the earth. Set your mind on things above. For you died. I thought I prayed a prayer to go to heaven. No. You died. That's why we water baptize. It's a sign of death so that there's life. Come on, guys. Water baptism's turned into like an annual thing. We do an annual water baptism. Them guys were so passionate about water baptism, it was in the message of conversion. They didn't even preach Jesus without water baptism. Why? Because it was all about death to live, death to life, buried in the likeness of his death. Do you not know, as many as you were baptized into Christ were baptized into his death, that you put off the old man and you put on the new? It's all through the Word. Yeah. So he says in Colossians, he says, you died and your life is hidden in Christ. And when Christ appears, who is your life, you will appear with him in glory. Therefore, because this is true, put to death your members which are on the earth. First thing on the list is fornication. He's talking about sex drive and sexual appetite and the way you learned to be sexual. People say, well, God gave us sex drive. No, not the way you knew it growing up. God made us a certain way and everything got changed. That's why he told you to put it to death. Desires and passions. You say, oh, I'm just supposed to control it. No, it's supposed to be renewed and reborn. Every person's appetite in that arena, apart from Christ, is self-driven. It's what you get out of it. Come on. Whether it's a lady finding identity and comfort and safety, or a man just getting a feeling. It's a self-serving thing the way we know it. And he says, put it to death. I got a bunch of young men I'm talking to tomorrow, and we're going to tear it up. You guys better come, too, all of you. Don't nobody chicken out. Come and man up. I get a bunch of guys in the room, we're going to let her fly. Dale said, get down and dirty. I'm not going to get down and dirty. I'm going to get down and clean. We're going to talk. I was in a Dallas Baptist University. I sat in the dorms, and they surrounded me with a whole bunch of guys from college. Rooms, just filled these rooms up with. And we just talked about that topic with a bunch of men. And they just bawled and cried. And it was powerful and beautiful. There's so many lies there. Listen, I won't teach you on this anymore. I know some people feel a little uncomfortable. Not many, just a couple. But for your sake, I'm just going to say this. Is there any area in our life more exploited than sexuality? It's commercials, TV, lust, clothing. Is there any area that men have come under the pressure of and the influence of any more than sexuality? Do you counterfeit $1 bills? Come on, anything that's exploited this extreme has an amazing holy root and value. There's a pot of gold there. And it's been perverted in such a way through sensuality to keep us from even looking for what's true. He says, put to death your members which are on the earth. That means the way you lived in the flesh before Christ came, kill it. He's not talking about works. He's talking about put it to death. Recognize you weren't made for that. People say, well, God gave us our sex drive. No, no, no. God gave you love. Sex drive as we know it came from Adam, I promise you. Because it's usually at the expense of someone. God didn't put one human being on the earth to scratch another one's itch. And He didn't put a human being on the earth to meet another one's need. He made man in love, and in love there's fulfillment and fullness, and out of fullness you have true covenant. And to know the love of Christ is to be filled with all the fullness of God. You don't get married because you're not getting any younger. You don't get married because they're hot and he's a hunk. You get married because of love, because of covenant, because of all that is mine is yours, and all that is yours is mine. And 1 + 1 is a stronger one. And love